Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 42 of the Salty Dog Podcast.
Let's get salty!
What is up, guys? As I said, this is episode 42 of the Salty Dog Podcast. I'm Captain Clash, he's Captain Dukey, and we...
Ahoy there, Mages!
As always, are your salty captains. Taking
What's
you on this
good?
journey of Hearthstone. What's good? Well, I don't know. I feel like today's kind of going to be a little bit of a sad show. It's like bittersweet.
Yeah, that's actually...
Because there's some big
accurate
news that has hit.
There is some big news.
So, but I guess we should say that for the news.
Right,
That's
for the
generally
news
when you
segment.
talk about news is during the news.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
So how has your week in Hearthstone been?
My week in Hearthstone has been good. It's been I've been playing more. It's been more productive. I found a deck I actually like to use, which is very important for me.
Yeah, that helps.
It's fun to win in Hearthstone. Like it's almost impossible to play this game if you're playing a deck you can't win with because it sucks. But
crazy.
I also have a really hard time. You and I both have a really hard time playing with a deck that just wins, but we don't have fun playing.
Right. Yeah,
But I
exactly.
think, yeah, at least for now, at least how the meta is currently, I have found a deck that does both. That was a nice dramatic zoom. I liked that.
Thank you.
So...
Trying to get my door frame out of the...
Anyway, I've been playing Control Mage, which I didn't think was going to be a thing. I don't think anybody really thought it was going to be a thing after the Ice Block rotation, because it seemed like it was so important for you to have Ice Block to be able to use Control Mage. But
Yeah.
it turns out that like you can still do it, man. You can. Like maybe Ice Block has just been a crutch this entire time.
It's like they're like, well, how can I win if I can't make myself not lose for several turns in a row?
Right?
And turns out there are other ways
That you can make yourself not lose for several turns in a row.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So I've been having a lot of fun doing that. I think I'm either like just about to hit rank 3 or I am rank 3. I can't remember exactly where I am, but I've been making some decent progress. It's listed currently as tier 2, which we're going to talk about more when we get over to news, but I think it's like matched really well against the decks that are played the most in this current period of time. So
Yeah.
that's been my week. I haven't done any arena or much of anything else. I've just been really focusing on ladder and made some decent progress, but we're coming up to the end of the month, which isn't as bad as it used to be, because now I'm only going to fall back 4 ranks, so it's not bad.
Yeah, that's pretty great. You'll be rank 7, which is still like good. Yeah.
Yeah. So how about your week? What have you been up to?
I haven't played too much Hearthstone. Unfortunately, the bit I have played was mostly actually when we were streaming on Tuesday, and I got to face the full fury of your very annoying Control Mage deck.
Yeah.
But mostly I'm still like tinkering with Paladin and trying to figure out which of these many Paladin variants I want to like, pilot as far as I can. So
right, because there are quite a few.
There are.
There's, I mean, you basically gotta do. Wait, no, you don't. I was gonna say you basically gotta do Gen or Baku, like odd or even, but I guess you don't. But I still feel like those are the top ones.
Those are definitely very good.
Yeah.
But I mean, if the tools are there to make a deck with just odd or just even cards, then the tools should be there to make a deck that can use any cards.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's one. It's I was telling you about it earlier. It's called like the Glass Paladin, and it uses Glass Knight and Blackguard and a bunch of like stuff that heals, but it's still very like tempo and on board, and like just it just wants to like own the board. And I want to try that one out. Maybe after the show I'll screw around with that a little bit or something. But other than that, I've just been patiently waiting for Monster Hunt, which is finally out.
Yeah, we just got that today, which is pretty exciting.
I haven't got a chance to mess with it yet, so that's another thing I want to do after the show.
Right on.
But yeah, that's about it for me. I haven't really played too much.
I mean, that was me last week, so I get that. Sometimes you just don't have the time to. This is a very time-centric game. You got to be on there to actually get anywhere. But I do like that the solo adventure's out now. I plan on spending a ton of time on that. I need to not get too distracted. Like, I have to choose solo adventure or ladder, you know, because I know that the solo adventure is going to start to become soul-sucking. So
definitely, it just depends on. Do you want to make a final push before the end of the month in ranked, or are you happy where you're at and you're just going to do Monster Hunt for a while?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, we are coming up on the end of the month.
I'll probably ride this, like, I don't know, this, like, steam I've got going for pushing ladder, and, like, you know, when I inevitably get burned out, then I'll be like, all right, fuck it, I'm going to play Monster Hunt.
Yeah, the single player modes are great for burnout. Like when you want to sit down and play Hearthstone, but the thought of ladder just makes you want to vom. It's fun to just beat down on or get beat down by some NPC characters.
But it takes out all that frustration of knowing you were beaten by another human being. You know?
I know, that's why I can't handle too much PvP in my life. Like Hearthstone's the extent of it. Because, oh man, I take it so personally. I'm like, you think you're better than me just because you won this children's card game.
Children's card game, that's the best. Oh, man. So, for this show, what are we going to do? We're going to talk about the big new news. There's been some changes up at the staff at Team 5.
That's right.
Just talk briefly about meta decks and how they've changed, if they've changed much at all since the set came out. We've got our salty card segment back. What else we got going on here? We got Q&A and, of course, our card submission challenge. So let's get into the news first and talk about what it is that we were saying is going to make this show a little bittersweet.
All right.
What's happening?
Gadgets and Gazette always gets the scoop.
Time is money, friend. Keep it quick, kid. I ain't got all day.
All right, so what I'm talking about here, which most of you have probably already heard, is that the Brode, Ben Brode, has announced that he's leaving Blizzard. He's leaving Hearthstone and will no longer...
The Brode.
Rip in Brode. He's gone. He's leaving. That's crazy.
He's leaving Blizzard. I know.
It's just one of those things where you never thought you'd see that. Like, never even crossed my mind, you know?
Like, I feel like it's only been in recent, like, the past, like, year, maybe, that Ben Brode has really, like, become such a public face of Hearthstone, has really become, like, the voice of Hearthstone, and, like, you know, they're... Like I felt like they were just starting to build up this really good rapport with, you know, with the players and the staff. Like they were coming out with those videos, like every couple weeks, being like, "Oh, here we have your questions. Here are the answers." And I really liked that, like very open dialogue sort of thing. And that is a very Blizzard thing historically to do, is to have that very open dialogue with the community.
Team 5 struggled with it at first, though, and it was Ben Brode that kind of started, like, he would literally, like, set up a camera, and you could just see, like, his staircase, like, in his house behind him, and he would just, like, do, like, developer directs just from his house, like, on his own time, and he really, like, upped the quality of communication from Team 5 and, like, us knowing what's going on with the game. And yeah, this is just like, man, it's just huge news. Like, he's just become so synonymous with the game. Like, he's almost like the charismatic face of Hearthstone. It's kind of insane. Yeah,
he was really starting to grow on me. I remember when I first heard of who Ben Brode was when we were talking about, like, some of the unreasonable, stupid, like, choices they make for the game. Like, I think the specific thing we were talking about was when they were saying they didn't want to increase the amount of deck slots you get
because it might get confusing.
Because Ben Brode said it might be confusing, and I'm like, man, fuck that guy. No, Brode's really grown on me, and I think he's
all
grown
the,
on
like the songs, you know, like which he also did on his own, you know, like the rap, the you know, Knights of the Frozen Throne rap and stuff was really cool. Yeah, it's just crazy. Like I really hope that Team 5 doesn't now start to slack off in the communication department again, you know, now that he's not going to be here, like taking all these like initiatives that he did to like kind of open that doorway. I hope they put someone else, you know, in that spot that's going to continue to engage with the community.
Some big shoes to fill there.
Yeah,
and I can't say that like nothing against anyone else on the team, but I can't say anyone else that I've like seen in like the videos or Q&As or promotional stuff really has that like charisma and swagger that Brode has. So I hope they manage to find somebody that's like, you know, really got that same like kind of warm, comforting, like Ben Brode's the kind of guy where you're like, I could be friends with that guy, you know?
Right, yeah. Of course, the classic laugh.
yeah, right.
But
like I'd love to have a beer with Ben Brode, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
A beer with Brode.
A double B, a Brode beer.
Yeah.
But this is what he had to say. I mean, he posted like a whole, like a big, you know, post about why he was leaving, but this is just kind of the most pertinent parts of it. He said, I'm very fortunate to be able to take a crazy risk right now in my life, which I guess is what would have to be going on if you're leaving Blizzard, which is kind of, you know, like a position that he has at Blizzard, which is like pretty like dream job status, you know?
Oh yeah.
And I'm excited to be scrappy and a little scared. I'm going to help start a new company. We'll probably make games, which is interesting because like if you don't even know what you're gonna make, like what are you making?
Yeah.
So, but we haven't figured anything else out yet. Looking forward to designing, programming, and actually creating things again. Which, I mean, it was super cool for him to just kind of give a glimpse into what he's moving on to and like why he's leaving. That does sound like refreshing if you've been in like this managerial position for a while and then you just want to get back to like using your hands to actually make something. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, no, definitely. That was I hadn't read that yet, but that was my guess, because I think when everyone heard Ben Brode was leaving Hearthstone, the big question was like, well, why?
Yeah, like how could you?
Yeah. So, and I was thinking like, where do you go after that? And I was like, you probably make your own games, you know, like what else? What do you do after that point? So he had a long spiel, like, you know, all being like, I'm gonna miss it and great opportunities and so many good years and yada yada, all that fluffy stuff. But yeah, I think what everyone really wanted to know was, well, what are you gonna do now?
Yeah.
So
they might need a couple years to get on their feet, you know, like whatever company he's starting. But maybe, I don't know, we're looking at April 2020, maybe Brodestone. A new card game to challenge Hearthstone. Who knows?
April 2020. Yep.
Blazestone. But that comes right alongside another pretty high up Hearthstone developer leaving as well. Hamilton Chu, executive producer, also leaving Blizzard. He wasn't someone that I personally ever heard his name before or been familiar with, but I did see they had a little section highlighting him on Hearthstone, and what they said about him is that the things that he was responsible for were writing a lot of the flavor text of the Whispers of the Old Gods expansion, and also strategic planning of like business side operations for Hearthstone.
Yeah.
So
he's more behind the scenes,
right?
Which is why, you know, people don't really know who he is. But it was interesting that, you know, him and Brode left at like the same time. But I don't think it's like related.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
I don't think he's joining the company that Brode is joining, or like the business that Brode is starting with.
I don't think they were just like, they were like drunk one day and they were like, we're going to make our own card game with blackjack and hookers.
Oh, let that be a thing.
So I guess blackjack is a card game, so.
Yeah. So at the very least, we will be seeing some changes up in the development side team for Hearthstone, so who knows what that's going to mean for the future, but I just really hope we continue to see the openness that we've been getting with communication as far as like what we're getting from the game and like what they're thinking about and what's coming, because like it's so crazy because I feel like just in recent weeks, even just like within the last month, he's been the most public about Hearthstone he's been in a while. You know, with that the two different YouTube videos he did with two different channels answering questions about Hearthstone, and it's just crazy.
Yeah, I guess, you know, he still had a job to do.
Yeah, he did, and he was doing it well. So,
and I hope what they're doing there is trying to set a precedent for the, you know, his successor to kind of do the same sort of things. So it is honestly a little worrying, because he was so good at what he did, and I really hope that those lines of communication stay open between Blizzard and the players. So
definitely,
we shall see.
But definitely, you know, like, let's raise a glass to Brode. It's been a good run.
Raise a glass to our Brode.
I would pour one out, but you know, I want to drink this, so
yeah, and I don't want to make a mess. So.
Yeah, but so pretty big news there. But also today, some cool news, some less sad news. We mentioned this already. Is Monster Hunt finally came out.
That's right.
So we've got the solo mission, and I've just started dabbling with it. It does feel very similar to the Kobolds and Catacombs dungeon run. But what's really cool about it is that you pick from not the 9 classes, but 4 new heroes with their own unique hero powers. And we were just talking about this right before the show. One of the most interesting ones is Dukey, with the Mage legendary. That's the card that gives you, you know, a wild legendary from the past. Yeah. She has a super interesting ability in Monster Hunt, which is that you can start your turn over for 0 mana. Mm-hmm. So
don't like the way those knives were juggled. Start it over. Exactly.
Or your arcane missiles. Like, my run so far has been going really good. I got as my first passive hero power the +3 spell damage. So I've got like arcane missiles, and it deals 6 damage. And I can be like, okay, so I really need 3 of these to hit this guy, so that I can get lethal, or so that the minion gets removed or something. And so you try it, and it doesn't work, and you're like, all right, let's try that again. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that I haven't had a chance to play. I really want to play. So after the show, I'll stream a little bit on my channel, just so we have a post show. Because I think you said you probably had to go after the show.
Yeah, I'm gonna see you know, like what time it is and a few different factors. But I may not be able to hang out. I will if I can. But if I can't, Dukey is gonna stream after the show. So we'll figure that out when it comes to the time. But
either way, we're gonna get some Monster Hunt action. In after the show.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's really cool. It was still weird to me that it didn't release with the expansion. Like, I don't know if that's going to be the new thing, or if it's just this one particular expansion they needed to delay it for some reason. But it does kind of remind me of the way they used to do stuff with the adventures, which are no longer a part of Hearthstone. They used to roll out portions of the adventures over the course of a month. It would be 4 wings, and you'd get 1 a week. So I guess maybe they decided to try to like prolong that feeling of newness as an expansion comes out by not releasing the solo campaign right when the set is also available. So
that's my theory on it, because I really doubt that it was something like, oh, Monster Hunt's not done yet, because
I get the same sense.
No, they're already 2 sets ahead of us as far as like designing new cards. So they're like, there's almost no way that Monster Hunt wasn't done. They're probably just it's probably just like, and I mean, it kind of works, because you spend a couple weeks like dabbling in Witchwood, and you're like, okay, I get it now. And then Monster Hunt comes out, and you're like, cool, a new thing. Yeah. So
it does make sense.
I definitely get why they would do that.
Mm-hmm. Tavern Brawl this week is the Witchy Recipe Brawl, which is trying to push, you know, kind of those archetypes that they wanted to introduce into Witchwood. They didn't all catch, of course. Like, the one that they're trying to push for Warlock, I'm pretty sure, is some kind of like an echo thing, which it's all just Q block still. And But it's kind of cool to see like where their heads were at as far as being able to just use those pre-constructed decks, even if you don't have all the legendaries and stuff. So this is the Brawl that I wish we would have gotten the week before it was released.
Yeah,
this is what I was like complaining about the Brawl. So
yeah, I haven't had a chance to try it yet, so I didn't know what it was. But
yeah, just pre-constructed archetypes. Rogues trying to use the Echo mechanic too. Like they're using the guy that gets +1/+1 every time you use an Echo card.
Right.
Yeah. You know, stuff like that.
Okay, well that should be fun. That should be fun for a couple games.
Yeah, like a game or two, and then you're like, okay, never mind.
Yeah, all right, I get it.
Yeah. And this one, I think you know a little bit more about this if you want to take the discussion on this. The Shutterwalk and Life Drinker animations. I know you had mentioned this, but I wasn't really sure what you meant at the time.
Yeah, so that whole deck revolves around playing all these crazy battle cry cards, getting the battle cries to go off, then using Rumble. Is it Rumble or Grumble?
I think it's Grumble.
Is it Grumble?
Yeah,
to like return everything to your hand and then play them all again, get their battle cries again, and then you play Shutterwalk, and then all the battle cries go off, and like you just like win.
And the Shutterwalk returns itself to your own hand, so you can play it again.
Yeah, exactly. You just keep doing it. Yeah. So that all that animation just takes forever. Which, you know, we've seen in the past with things like Mysterious Challenger.
Yeah.
But that all takes forever, so they capped the Shutterwalk battle cry limit, like the amount of battle cries it'll repeat, to 20. Which that's plenty.
It's plenty, and the only reason they even had to do that is because you could never build a Shutterwalk deck that could actually get 20 battle cries off before you ever play Shutterwalk. The problem was Shutterwalk starts to repeat battle cries that it itself has already repeated once. So once you play him once and then you get 2 or 3 copies in your hand because he made copies of himself because of your Serenite Chain Gangs, then you play that, and every time you play it, it's compounding on itself. So you literally get to a point where you could have like thousands of battle cries to go through. So
yeah. So a key card in that deck was Life Drinker, that bug that sucks 3 health from your opponent, gives it to you.
Yeah.
So that was a big part of the Shutterwalk win condition, was those things coming down and just going off over and over and over and over again and pretty much killing you. So the Life Drinker animation was like sped up. I don't know how much this is all how noticeable this is all gonna be, but it's, you know, probably for the best.
I noticed how slow Life Drinker animations were. I did.
Was it?
Yeah, it just seemed unnecessary. Like I would just compare it to Nightblade, like you, which is kind of a comparable card. It's a 4-mana 3/3. It just doesn't have the, or the 5. Is it a 5-mana 4/4? I can't remember, but it deals 3 damage to
5-mana 4/4.
Yeah. It deals 3 damage to the face when it comes out, but it's so quick. It's just like whoosh, like a quick little dagger. And the Life Drinker does a really similar thing. But it just gains you health too. But they were like 2 distinct separate animations, from like the hurting you and then like the transferring the health to the enemy.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this feels too dramatic right now. Like, so I'm glad that they did increase the speed of it.
Yeah, there's a lot of variance in the animations in Hearthstone.
Yeah.
Like it's all over the place. Like some things like have these awkward pauses in them.
Yeah, I've noticed.
And just like go really slow. Like, I don't know, think about if like Avenging Wrath was like faster. And it was just like, instead of like, shoot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like, just some of them feel a little, like, awkward.
I do kind of appreciate it sometimes, though. Like, I feel like Life Drinker was a great example of when it's bad, and it was just awkward, like, how long that animation took, and I'm glad they fixed it. But Avenging Wrath, I think, is a good example of a card that has, like, an appropriate delay, because it makes it feel very, like, impactful and like grand. Like it like lights up and it makes that like crazy like whing sound like before you use it, and then like the hits, they sound like really like they really hurt.
Yeah,
like you compare
maybe
that to like
wasn't the best example, but there are definitely cards out there where it seems to everything seems to go off like really slowly.
Yeah,
which is weird. So I don't know. Hopefully that's something. And I feel like I've noticed some change. Like they've secretly changed some without like saying they did. Like Hammer of Wrath is one that I feel like used to be a lot faster. Like you could barely like see the hammer. It was just like shoof. And then now it's like this awkward like curve shoof. And like it doesn't really look like you're throwing it super hard. So I don't know, but it's
I
just
guess
random.
4 mana for 3 damage. I guess you're not really throwing it too hard.
You're not throwing it super hard, no.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how often they mess with stuff like that and just don't even make a note of it. But you know, who knows? They did make a point to. I think the only reason they made a point to make a note of these changes is because it was actually interfering with people's ability to use their turns, which was definitely a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a problem. What's that?
There's a whole discussion you can have about like the wick and like what should actually take from your turn. Like, should animations even count towards your turn? Like,
right?
You know, those you're not. That's not you wasting that time. That's just card animations.
Yeah, that's the.
So why is that time taken from you?
Yeah, you make a good point about this. I know you had mentioned it before, and I don't even think I really like fully got what you meant at the time. But it seems animations, they almost seemed set in stone to me before, but now like seeing them change them on the fly, it means they do. Like on the development side, they do determine how long animations take, and for whatever reason, we don't really know. So you make a good point. It's like almost like, if when an animation kicks in, it just pauses your turn timer so that it's not counting down like closer to the wick. Mm-hmm. That makes sense to me. I think that does make sense.
Yeah. The best example will always, for me, be Mysterious Challenger. Yeah. Because you attack and then like 12 things happen.
Right.
And you have to just sit there and like that's not an easy turn. Like the turn right after Mysterious Challenger drops is not an easy turn to navigate.
No, it's not.
First of all, it's like, you gotta be like, you have to plan some shit out. Like, and then, you're left with just seconds to like execute your plan. And then, get down. And then he comes back to life. And then
he goes back into their hand. And
and something gets +3/+2. So yeah, it's like that. I don't know, when it gets that excessive, like I just feel like, or you could just turn them off. Like, could you just play with them off?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
It does seem like the only thing about like having animations is like a toggle or whatever. It's just like, I don't want animations or whatever. It's like you and your opponent would both have to like be okay with that.
Yes.
So
that's the problem with that.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's interesting that they like finally kind of addressed it in a way. So maybe that's something they will tweak more and take into consideration more in the future. I'm honestly surprised. I feel like I was the only person that was like losing their mind over Mysterious Challenger, like wrecking. Like his power level is high because you don't have time on your turn to do anything. Right,
he's like low key Nozdormu.
Yeah,
like
he's like
your turn.
Yeah. But anyway, it's interesting that when we see Blizzard touch on something or address something that they never have before, it's always like this door cracks open and you're like, like, oh, you were toying with the idea of dual wield, were you? Yeah. Well, maybe we will see that in the future.
Like maybe they'll come back to it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's there's an interesting. There's more to it than just Shudderwalk and Life Drinker got changed.
Yeah. It's just like it's kind of a band-aid. It's like just the thing that's causing an issue right now.
Yeah.
And they may just always treat it on a case-by-case basis like that. You never know.
Yeah. Probably.
But that does it for, like external outside of meta news. It's pretty much all that's really going on. So I have up here, I don't have it up on the stream if you're watching, but I'm just going to go through kind of the difference between what we're seeing with between different sites as far as what they're saying are the best decks right now. So kind of the one that gets thrown around a lot is Tempo Storm's Meta Snapshot. That's kind of like one of the very, along with Vicious Syndicates, super well respected one. Has tier 1 listed as Even Paladin, Q Block, Spiteful Druid, Murloc Paladin, and Odd Paladin. All listed as tier 1. So
wow.
Three different Paladin archetypes.
It's crazy.
Paladin is and has been very strong since Kobolds and Catacombs.
Yeah.
Just with their ability to... It's kind of what you've always really wanted from Paladin, honestly. It's just never being able to be removed from the board.
Yeah.
So
I need to get used to that power and not be so afraid to just throw out a shitload of dudes and just be like, what you got?
Yeah, exactly.
Deal with this.
Exactly.
But
I think this is kind of the perfect time for you to be trying the ladder, because it's your kind of on-board Paladin like type fiesta right now.
It's a fiesta.
Yeah. So tier 2 they have listed as Quest Rogue, which we talked about this a little bit last show. I was super surprised about Quest Rogue, even though Echo does kind of lend itself to it.
Yeah.
Odd Rogue, which I made a version of that and had a lot of fun with, because it's just cool being able to throw on a 2/2 dagger, and I just like the way that they kind of get their game plan done. It's not, like trying to make one huge board swing in a turn. It's like never having to stop the damage. You can just like keep going. It's kind of fun.
That sounds like something I'd want to try.
Yeah. Taunt Druid, which is the exact opposite of Odd Rogue, and trying to stop everything from happening forever. Odd Hunter, Control Priest, Miracle Rogue, and Tempo Rogue. So a lot of rogues in tier 2, at least according to this particular interpretation of the meta. And then in tier 3 we have Control Mage, which is the one that I'm playing. Odd Fatigue Warrior, Odd Quest Warrior, Combo Priest, Spiteful Dragon Priest. They have it pretty low as far as from where I've seen it. I've seen Spiteful Priest a good bit higher than this.
Yeah.
Aggro Mage, which really fell off. I believe I remember seeing this like listed very highly at first, like almost a tier 1 deck, and it's fallen quite a bit. Control Warlock, Mid-Range Shaman. Shaman's still really not having a good time. Nothing in tier 1 or 2. Zoolock, Token Druid, and Secret Paladin. That Paladin deck kind of bringing up the caboose of Paladins, unfortunately, because I know you were psyched about that one.
Yeah, I thought that Bell Ringer... Well, I mean, I said it when I saw the card, the Bell Ringer Sentry. I was like, if the right secret gets printed, this will be good. But right now, like, you can cram all kinds of secrets in there, but, only so many noble sacrifices will help you, you know, at any given time. So, yeah, it's just not the secret pool to make that one work yet, I don't think. Paladin's
never seen anything as good as Avenge, as far as the secret. Avenge was so incredible.
Yeah.
It's a 1-mana 3/2, like you just get to throw it onto another minion. It's insane. That was such a good card.
Yeah, it's like almost Kings for 1 mana.
Right?
It's Blessing of Might with 2 health. Like, it's just crazy.
Yep. Blessing of Might actually has made a comeback, though. In the Baku Paladins, I have seen Blessing of Might getting used. So.
Oh, yeah. It's a good face card. Add some of that finishing damage on there. It's a lightning bolt.
Yep. And then the other site that I have up, which I always liked, I pretty much refer to this site more than any other, because I feel like it's updated more often. They don't wait for... there's not as much data that goes into it, but it's more adaptable to the meta. And it's Disguised Toast's website. Just disguisedtoast.com. He has a meta deck ratings section that I feel like is updated almost like on the daily or every other day. And this only lists 3 decks as the top decks to beat tier 1, which is Even Paladin, Murloc Paladin, and Spiteful Druid. So some of the same decks, but not as many listed as tier 1 as Tempo Storm had. And I do see, I want to say I see these mostly when I'm laddering. I've seen so many Spiteful Druids, it's actually kind of gross.
Ugh.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound fun.
Yeah, Even Paladins are up there too. I see Even Paladin and Spiteful Druid more than Murloc Paladin. But I mean, you haven't really been laddering much yourself, though, right?
No, not really.
Yeah, Spiteful Druid, it makes it, just like any Spiteful Summoner deck does, no matter what class you're playing, it makes it so that you really need to have access to high priority target removal like that. You just need to be able to take care of it right away, because if a Spiteful comes down, it gets you a 10 drop on 6, and you don't have a way to deal with whatever it brought out, unless it's something terrible. But I think the worst thing they can get now is like Emerus, which is 8/8 still. It's still a big swing. Then you're just going to lose.
Yeah.
Which is why this was my salty card last week.
Yeah, it's gimmicky, and it's in too many decks. It's like you just build around Spiteful now. Yep.
If you can, like if a deck has a great 10-mana spell like Mind Control or Ultimate Infestation, then it can have a Spiteful deck.
Just do it, yeah.
Yep.
So
it's like Nike. Just do it, man.
Do it.
Just fucking make a Spiteful deck. And this has a lot of decks listed as Tier 2, and right at the top of Tier 2, they have Control Mage, which is where I think it's more appropriate for Control Mage to be a Tier 2 deck than a Tier 3 deck like Tempo Storm had it, because I have been having a lot of fun and success with Control Mage, because it has everything that you kind of need to combat the Tier 1 decks. So you got Even Paladin, Murloc Paladin. It's like, obviously they're both trying to swarm the board and try to just never get removed and just chip you down with minion damage. And you have every board wipe possible, like that's ever been available to Mage in that deck. You've got...
Yes, you do.
Dragon's Fury, you've got Doomsayer, you've got Blizzard, you got Flame Strike, you have Baron Geddon, you have everything. And to fight against the Spiteful Druids, which are also rampant on ladder, you have a ton of single target removal. You have the Voodoo Dolls, which was a huge get for Control Mage, especially once you're already in Frostlich Jaina. That card just like revolutionized Control Mage, gives you so many more options.
Yeah, it's nuts.
And then of course Polymorph and also Meteor. You can pretty much take anything, any single target threat down with any of those spells.
Yeah, no, I don't think anything survives a Meteor.
I don't believe so.
I don't think there's anything
what can is Tyrantus, because you can't fucking target him.
Tyrantus.
The biggest problem you will ever have using Control Mage against Spiteful Druid is if they land Tyrantus, which I'm pretty sure is just the best thing you can hit on 10 mana.
Yeah. Oh, 12/12 can't be targeted on turn 6.
But you know what lets you get around that, though, if you're lucky, is the Voodoo Doll, because the Voodoo Doll can still target it.
That is true. That is true.
So you still have options in there. You still have options.
Yep.
But also in Tier 2, you have Control Warlock and Cube Warlock, which is insane to see it reduced to a lowly Tier 2 deck.
Yeah.
Which I'm pretty sure is solely because it can't really stand up to the unstoppable tide of Dude/Murloc Paladin.
Yep.
I think it actually is pretty badly matched up against those decks.
That's interesting, because it seems like Defile is just the medicine for that.
Right.
But I guess the reload's just so good on those decks that it doesn't matter.
Yeah. It's the Call to Arms or just the Baku Paladins that can create 2 minions a turn. It's just...
Yeah. Silence
has become so quintessential to the game. I've seen more owls and spellbreakers coming down than like in the history of this game.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's so funny seeing Owl get run again in the odd decks, because it's the only option. So
yeah, because if you're playing an odd deck, you can't use Spellbreaker, which is obviously the better choice. Do you remember what Owl used to be?
It used to be 2 mana.
Owl used to be 2. So
yeah, and everybody ran Owl for their Silence because
it was so cheap.
Such a good deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Spellbreaker became the standard. So one thing I really like about like I said, I don't know, I think Tuesday we were talking about this. Like I said, Witchwood has left me feeling like unmoved or something.
Yeah,
like
I believe
that.
You said unmoved. I think
I wasn't moved, but I don't know. Thinking about it more, I did not expect the meta to change so much, and I didn't expect to see so many different decks actually succeed and work. So it is kind of refreshing, even if some of these decks are really annoying. It is kind of refreshing to see things changed a lot. Like, and we're seeing cards that you would never think to see. Like, I mean, the fact that Quest Rogue is back is crazy, but I mean, it is enabled by Echo, and then there's the 0/2 taunt Divine Shield for like 1 mana.
The Wax Elemental?
Yeah, the Wax Elemental. Just like certain things enabling that deck to work again. And then, these, even in Odd Paladins, you're seeing stuff like Stormwind Champion and Raid Leader.
Yeah.
It's wild. Like, it's cool. Like, seeing cards that aren't really considered good, but you kind of have to use them to make this deck work, and then when it works really well. So
right, because you're getting so much benefit out of your improved hero power. So
exactly, yeah. So the even odd thing might have actually been a genius move by Blizzard to get some cards that don't really see play a whole lot kind of back into the scene. Yeah, so I agree. It's interesting, and it's cool, and I need to dive into ladder a little bit more and see what I can do, see what I can shake up,
see what you can see. And then just kind of pulling up the tail end of tier 2, you've got Even Shaman, Mind Blast Priest, which is a really interesting one, Odd Paladin, Odd Rogue. Quest Rogue is listed lower on Disguised Toast's website here, and I haven't seen a lot of it. So, like I said before, remember when I first was talking about Quest Rogue last show, and I was like, I don't understand how Quest Rogue gets played in a world where aggro paladins are running around everywhere, and I think that's what's keeping that in check.
Probably.
Which is what's good for someone like me trying to play Control Mage, because if there was Quest Rogues all over the ladder, you could forget about it, because you won't win.
you get to eat those aggro paladins that are keeping the meta from being cancerous. Right? Like, the aggro paladins are keeping the Q blocks oppressed, and they're keeping the Quest Rogues oppressed, and then you show up and you're like, ooh, 1 health minions? Don't mind if I do.
I feed on the bottom feeders. Quest Warrior, Tempo Mage, and Zoo Warlock. So
that's tier 2.
Yeah, that's all tier 2.
That's a big tier.
It is a big tier. I think that's a sign of a healthy meta. Like, definitely. All of these decks, they're within minor percentage points as far as win rates go.
Yeah, I was gonna say that exact same thing. Like, like, just because something is tier 3, that doesn't mean it's a bad deck. It just means it's got like a slightly lower percentage win rate or something. Almost everything is playable right now, and until that crazy combo deck that we haven't predicted emerges and makes everybody mad, it looks like we have a pretty healthy, diverse meta here. So
yeah, if you're really looking to make progress on ladder, you're pretty much good to try any deck that's within the top 1 or 2 tiers. I could never really get on board with playing a tier 1 deck. I can never do it. I don't think I'll ever be able to.
Yeah, I only do it if it's like a deck that I love it, or I need to like do a quest with a class, and I'm just like, all right, what's the best thing?
Yeah, every once in a while I will do that. I'll just be like, I don't have a druid deck, so I'll just go look up a deck and just copy the list and just paste it in there, because I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, I don't want to fucking make a druid deck. I don't even know how to make a druid deck. Like, what's that? So
anyway, that's the meta. That's what we're looking at now. It's a lot of different classes. I mean, Shaman's sad. Warrior didn't really catch on as much as a lot of us, including me, thought it would. A lot of the decks, the classes that were already on top stayed on top. Warlock, everybody predicted that. Paladins, just as good as they were before. Druid, in a very different way from the Jade Idol years, but still very good. So and the fact that these 2 sites have their tier lists so shuffled around really tells you that it's pretty much a free-for-all. Like, try whatever you want to try. Exactly. Yeah. which is the best time.
Yeah, definitely.
Also,
hopefully it lasts.
Hopefully it lasts, yeah. But also there's a lot of dumb, stupid cards that we hate playing against already, of course. So that leads us into our salty card segment, where we're gonna bitch and moan about cards that we don't like playing against.
Sounds fun.
You gotta be kidding me!
Alright, so up first, we have Dukey's salty card, which we've already been talking about this deck a lot already, so...
Yeah, well, this is your fault.
I know. This is pretty much a direct result of our Tuesday gameplay stream.
It is, kind of, and I can't remember if Frostlich Jane has been a salty card for me before.
I don't know.
But this card, like, every time I have to play against it, it just sets me off.
Right.
And, like, I always feel like it just has too much going on. Like, you know, maybe it shouldn't summon a 3/6 when it comes out, or maybe your elemental shouldn't get lifesteal, or maybe your hero power shouldn't make an elemental when you kill a thing. Like, but all of it together is just so busted. Like, when you get Baron Geddon down with this thing out, and you're just sucking like 20 life and just healing a shit ton.
Yeah.
It makes me crazy. Like, I mean, obviously, this is from the perspective of, like, probably me playing Paladin 90% of the time. Mm-hmm. And, you know, my dudes are just easy ping targets, so can't really make those anymore. And, you know, they always find a way to ping something if not pinging their own voodoo doll, which is a new feature. And so basically it's like I'll be ahead and then this card comes down and it just instantly seals the deal. Like, you've got the power. Like, if I'm trying to get you down with a weapon, you can freeze me with your elemental. If I want to trade off that elemental, I'm gonna probably have to trade 3 things into it and give you like 6. How much attack does he have? 3? Give you like 9 life.
Right. Yeah.
And it's just so, and I mean, you heal for 5 as soon as you play the card. It's just like, oof. It's so oppressive to aggro. And like, once it gets rolling and there's multiple elementals out there, like I never know what to do when this comes out. Because I'm like, do I try to keep this under control so it can't just gain a buttload of life? Or do I just try to rush you down? But if I try to rush you down, then you still have the ability to make all this stuff that's going to gain you life back, or just drop Baron Geddon. I don't know. It's just too much.
Yeah. No, I do get what you're saying, and it is like a delicate balance. Like, if you're playing an aggro deck and you're not on the cusp of victory already when Frostlich comes down, or like you can't like prevent them from getting all of that health regain and value that the card obviously inherently has, then you will lose. Like, there's no doubt about that. But I've definitely lost to paladins, you know, aggressive paladins, after switching to Frostlich Jaina. You know, each deck has like their own kind of way of dealing with certain things. Like, equality is really good for the even paladins, getting rid of the water elementals before they can gain you much life. You know, they run equality and consecration, so well-timed, you know, combos like that can get rid of stuff. It's a very extreme card. It's possibly one of the best examples of the most value-packed card in the game. So,
I mean,
but it's so slow.
Sure. I mean, it's 9 mana.
It's 9 mana, so you can't even ping the turn that you use it.
No.
You do have to set up, like, you have to position yourself well to even be able to use this card, like, and not just die after you use it, so. But I definitely get what you're saying. Yeah,
I mean, it's definitely going to be more oppressive against certain decks than others.
For sure.
Like, some decks are like, whatever, steal your life, steal my life, kill minions, put out Baron Geddon, like, you know. Because, like, big control decks just don't really care what you do.
Exactly, because they're just trying to hit their own condition. Like, if it's a spiteful druid, they just want to get a Tarantus out and just slam jam a million damage to your face.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I can't remember if I had raged about her on the show yet, but it was time. It was definitely time.
So. I could feel it that you needed to get that out. So that's what we're here for. All right, and mine. I can't get over Warlock. Everyone just knows this about me by this point. So my salty card is Lord Godfrey. Not that this particular card has been incredibly oppressive, but I just need to complain because Warlock did not need this card. Okay?
No.
It's like, most of the time when they throw them out, like, I don't even really care that much, especially since I am playing Control Mage. And, you know, like, a board wipe doesn't mean a whole lot to me. But, like, I just see the card come down and I'm like, why? Why did you deserve to get this card? It's a guaranteed board clear. It might as well just say Battle Cry, destroy all other minions. Like, I don't even know why they're, like, beating around the bush with the Battle Cry here.
They're like, oh, it's like Defile, but it's more damage. Oh.
Yeah. So. Like, I'm sure, like, against a Spiteful deck, like, sometimes you won't be able to piece together enough damage to, like, take down the big minion that they summoned or whatever. But still, Lord Godfrey is so insane. And I think just my main problem with it is just, there were a lot of misses on legendaries in this set. There's like a whole bunch you can point to that don't see any play, like hardly whatsoever. You know, the priest legendaries aren't, just because priest is kind of low in the tier list right now. You've got Face Collector for rogue, doesn't see any play. The Glass Knight for paladin doesn't see any play. Hagatha doesn't see any play. And it's just like, you can almost point at this card and say it's the best legendary in the set, you know? And it's like, why did Warlock need that?
Right, that was the last class that needed a bomb-ass legendary.
So, I just get frustrated. And also, you know what? I think what else it is that makes me upset is that he's actually, like, really cool. He, like, comes down and shoots everything. And I'm like...
I see that he has guns.
Yeah, he literally shoots them all. And when you play him, he's like, this will be a mercy killing! And he's, like, shooting everything. And it's just like, wow, that's pretty cool. But it just tilts me. It's just me.
Yeah. I have not. I think, you know what? I think I've seen him come down one time now that I think about it. But like I said, I haven't laddered a whole lot, so I don't know how often he's being played. But I'm sure I will be quite salty when it happens to me. So
if you match against a Warlock that's not a Zoo Warlock, then he's in the deck. He's in Control Warlock. He's in Cube Warlock. He's good removal. He's Twisting Nether on 7 mana, and he gives you a 4/4. It's insane.
So that's, when you look at it that way, it's pretty fucked up.
Right. All right, so that does it for salty cards. I think it's about time to just go right into our card challenge. So our card challenge segment, for those of you who don't know, is every show we give you guys a prompt to create a Hearthstone card just by certain, you know, specifications that we come up with. And for an example, last week it was my turn to pose the challenge, and I said, let's make cool weapons that cost 7 or more mana. So, like, heavy game impactful weapons. Not, I feel like they really missed on this opportunity when they introduced legendary weapons, and they were all kind of bad. Like, none of them see play. Rune Spear doesn't see play. Woe Cleaver doesn't see play. Valenier doesn't even really see play, even though it's 6 mana. It's just, like, all these, like, really cool ideas for, like, weapons that you could, like, feel like you're wielding some badass, like, Sword of Legend. Like, they just never get played. It's always these, like, cheaper weapons. So let's see what we came up with for some big badass heavy mana cost weapons.
Prepare yourself for the ultimate test.
All right, so first one up, we have the image from Rune Spear, reimagined into Darwin's Staff by Roaming Otaku, which is a 7 mana 1/6 Wind Fury. So it's like, what? But whenever your hero attacks, transform your minions into random minions that cost 1 more. So you're getting double evolves per turn.
Yes.
I think this is a cool idea. especially since the weapon's so heavy. It's 2 more mana than even, you know, the Death Knight was, but it has more potential in the long run.
It does, yeah. Yeah, you get the same effect as the Death Knight.
Yeah.
But it's more mana. You don't get the armor. And I mean, it can be used as a removal tool in a very minimal sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get 3 turns of just evolving the crap out of your board. But you know, this does require you setting up a board to evolve. So like this isn't just a turn 7. This is coming down, sure thing, and evolving everything. You know, and there's still board wipes. You know, this thing could just be a dead weapon sitting on, like, equipped with nothing. You know, nothing you can do really with evolve, it. Yeah. So it seems pretty balanced.
It does. It seems balanced to me too. Like this, I think this would be like a fun build around card and something to try. I think it would be cool.
Yeah, and
especially since you could have, like, the turn after you equip it, you could have a whole 8 mana crystals or more to play with, you know, throwing minions down and trying to get good evolves. So.
Yeah, and it's Darwin's staff, so it's all about that evolution.
Yeah, you gotta evolve, man. All right, up next from Dukey, here's a sword that gives you an interesting alternate win condition. It's called Gorshalak. I think I said that right.
Yeah.
It's a 9 mana 3/8 that can't be destroyed by other cards, so it's like immune to oozes and, like, I'm assuming any kind of thing that you could try, like even Medivh or something. Like, I guess the one thing,
you can't even equip a weapon.
Yeah, I guess you just would not be able to equip a weapon over this because its ability is so powerful. It's Death Rattle, destroy the enemy hero. So basically, you got to get to turn 9. If you have this on curve, you have to survive another 8 turns, attacking every turn, and then you just automatically win the game.
And Dukey said that this is Sargeras's sword before he was corrupted.
Yeah, and like, I think I read also he said he sliced the world in half or something with it.
Oh yeah.
So
not too big of a deal.
No.
What I wonder is if there's any way to give a paladin hero Wind Fury.
I don't think there is.
I don't think there is.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way to give any hero Wind Fury other than if it's on an equipped weapon. So,
I mean, throwing on a like you could stall out a game with Paladin. At least certain control paladins of days of old could stall out a game and use this as a removal tool because it is a 3/8 weapon. To just get those 8 turns to go by and just win. So it's like an alternate win condition to the. You could be running this and the Uther Death Knight and be trying to get your horsemen and you know, trying to break this weapon, just trying to win through any means other than actually reducing their health to 0.
Yep.
So it's a cool idea.
It would be an interesting strategy, like game plan. So
yeah, definitely.
All right, up next from I'm a Dragon, we have a priest weapon called Shadow Render, which is a 10 mana 5/2 with an this card's insane. Battle Cry, destroy all minions with 5 or more attack. So the Shadow Reaper Anduin ability. But also, whenever you kill a minion with this weapon, you summon a 5/5 Shade. So I'm assuming, like, since the weapon is the thing that's battle crying, everything that you killed when this came down would come back as 5/5 Shades immediately on your side of the board. And then everything.
I'm wondering if that's how it worked.
I mean, it is the weapon killing them.
That's true. I almost feel like that's not what they intended for it.
Possibly. I don't know if I'm a Dragon's here in the stream and he can clarify, but I think it would almost have to not be the case for this to not be too OP, because you could just...
Yeah.
You could just, like, I mean, you're not losing any tempo with this. Destroying the whole, like, destroying all big threats on the board and summoning Shades.
Yeah.
And then you would also have the additional 2 attacks.
Yeah. I would say if just the initial battle cry doesn't summon the Shades, then I think this is pretty balanced, because you've got like a similar cost to like something like Shadow Reaper Anduin, because it has the same effect, and then you got a little bonus action there with the it being a weapon, a 5/2 weapon's nothing to laugh at,
Yep. 10
and
damage.
then
10 damage.
10 damage. You know, that's a lot. And if you need to use it to remove things, then you're gonna get some really good value out of that.
Yep. On the same token, though, like against a paladin deck, you know, like an aggressive paladin deck, this weapon does absolutely nothing. Nothing's gonna have 5 or more attack. You're just gonna pay 10 mana and die. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, apparently, according to Aoricos, they said in the tweet that the battle cry counts.
Oh, okay. So it will count. Okay.
It would be pretty broken.
Yeah. Against certain matchups, it would be. Against other ones, it would.
Yeah. I like the flavor of this a lot.
I do too.
Like, this kick-ass, like,
it's got a lot of priest flavor in it. Like, you know, taking control of things. And it's very cool.
Definitely, yeah. Very Shadow Priest.
All right, up next from Aoricos, we have the Soul Reaver, which is a 9-mana 0/4 lifesteal weapon. You can't cast spells when it's equipped. And the weapon's attack is equal to your mana crystals, but it has a max of 5 attack. So I get where this was going, but I think it's a little underpowered.
I think it's a lot of underpowered.
Right, like 9 mana for a 5/4 weapon, even with lifesteal, it's a little behind the curve. I don't think it's as bad as you think it is. But the whole not being able to cast spells aspect of it would have to be a lot stronger to justify having it equipped.
Is this a warlock?
Yes,
weapon?
It's a warlock weapon. So.
Huh. Yeah, it could use some adjusting, I think. I definitely appreciate the usage of the Soul Reaver.
You know how to get to our hearts with that card, for sure.
The quickest way to a salty dog's heart is with the Soul Reaver.
Absolutely.
Quite literally. So, and it's, you know, it's got lifesteal. The Soul Reaver would certainly have lifesteal, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely a lifesteal-y weapon.
I think the Soul Reaver would probably remove any minion that it kills from the resurrect pool. You know,
because you're just stealing their soul or whatever.
Yeah, just like take their soul, like.
Yeah.
But anyway. Oh, Aoricos is saying in chat that it's there was a updated version of this that's supposed to go up to 8 attack.
Okay.
So now we're talking.
Yeah, a 9-mana 8/4 lifesteal weapon. That's really good. So you would definitely at that point the no spell usage part of it would be justified.
Yeah.
I mean that's so much attack. Like I don't even know. Like that's really hard to evaluate.
I feel like it should be based on like your available mana crystals or something.
Oh, like it fluctuates. But you can just attack at the beginning of your turn before you played anything. Or
it could be based on your empty mana crystals.
Well, then you can play everything and then you attack.
Well, right, but is playing everything a good idea?
Yeah, yeah. There's something in there, like messing with mana crystals.
Yeah, which is, I mean, I like that idea too because it's a super magical sword. Like, Kain is able to like channel all kinds of magic through it and have like fire and lightning and ice and death and just cool shit. So, yeah, this is cool.
I agree. All right, up next from Electman24, we have Kaleidosaur Dagger. This is a really interesting one. It's 10 mana for a 3/3 with a start of game effect. If your deck has no minions with Battle Cry, give them Battle Cry Adapt. Then, when you play this dagger, it adapts for every time your minions have adapted when you play it. So,
which is like, how does a weapon adapt?
Yeah, there are certain things that you wouldn't be able to adapt into, like Divine Shield or Taunt or whatever, but most adaptations actually make sense for a weapon, like Wind Fury, Poisonous, +1/+1, +3 attack, +3 durability. I actually think this would be, since all you're saying is you can't have Battlecry minions in the deck, you could just fill it with amazing, you know, minions that are vanilla minions or minions that have other positive effects like Death Rattle. And all you're doing is just strengthening all those minions, and then your deck, I think, would just get out of control at that point.
Yeah, I mean, just without even drawing this weapon.
Exactly, you don't even need the added benefit of the weapon, yeah.
you throw out a shallow gravedigger, and then you get to adapt her into a 3/4, and it's like, oh fuck, that's really good now.
Yeah, adaptations are really, really strong. So
yeah, but it's a cool idea having a weapon that adapts. And before the show, we were actually even talking about before we read your tweets saying that it wouldn't get the abilities that a weapon couldn't get. We were talking about like, well, maybe if you chose taunt, it would give your hero taunt, like in the curator fight in Karazhan.
Yeah.
Or if it was divine shield, maybe your weapon would get a divine shield and it would survive, like the next swing wouldn't take a durability, or if it got slimed, the divine shield would just pop.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. We were just trying to think of fun ways to make give weapons taunt and divine shield and stuff like that.
You almost could. There's almost a way you can do everything. So
yeah, definitely.
I do like the idea behind it, though. Like, more start of game effects are something that I would enjoy because they're close to auras, which is something that I always talk about.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, start of game's a cool thing, and it's cool seeing people using it in their card creations, because it definitely
it's an ability now.
Changes. Yeah, literally changes the whole game. So this is super cool. I would love to see what the hell this thing would be like, once you equip it and you just get to adapt it like
it would be insane. It would be like a 12/9 Wind Fury. Like, it would be insane.
Yeah, like you definitely get Wind Fury somewhere in there.
Yeah,
you definitely grab plus. Yeah. Like, this honestly should probably be a 1. No, this should be like a 0/0. Like
a 0/0.
Like, this needs to start from the fucking bottom.
Yeah.
And
now we're here.
Built up from there. Also, minor side note, I don't think any self-respecting paladin uses a dagger. Just saying.
That's true. It should be like Kaleidosaur's hammer.
Yeah, a hammer, sword, or something.
All right, up next from Wadifer, we have Scythe of the Unn Maker. Oh shoot, I didn't add the second part of this card. Let me throw this up here. I know there's a second part, but the first part there is a 10 mana 2/2 weapon for Warlock that destroys all minions. So it twisting nethers when it comes down, and but it adds a minion to your hand, which I am searching for right now. Oh my goodness. I don't think I even downloaded it. What a scrub. I messed up on this one. So I'm just going to have to read it from Twitter real quick. We will get this. We will get this right. So the minion is called Argus the Unn Maker, and it adds it is a 8 mana 6/6 that death rattles to add a random weapon to your hand that costs 5 or more mana. So
wow.
You kill everything, you twist the board, and then you get a minion in your hand that gives you even more value later on once it dies in the form of another weapon, which could even potentially be another Scythe of the Unn Maker.
Right.
So, I actually think, just comparing this strictly to just to Twisting Nether, it's too strong.
Yeah, there's not a lot of risk involved in this,
right?
Because you can pretty much just do this anytime.
Yep.
And Argus is going to generate enough value for you, because that's he's a strong boy.
Yeah, an 8 mana 6/6 isn't like incredible or anything, but it's just the fact that you are able to clear the board and get stuff like good back. Like Twisting Nether almost sometimes ends up being an unplayable card, like if the Warlock is, like just in certain positions where it's just not great to use because they're out of resources. But like this just gives you resources back for wiping.
Yeah.
But I do like the idea behind it. So.
Oh yeah, this is a very it's actually a legendary weapon. So it's I was gonna say it's a very epic weapon,
but it's a very legendary weapon.
Yeah.
So
yeah, anyway. No, it's super neat.
Neato burrito. Thank you, everybody, for your submissions. Last up, we will have Dukey and I's. We also always rise to our own challenge. So first up, we always have yours, Dukey. with Arcanite Ripper.
Arcanite Ripper. All right, this was a kind of a last-minute creation. I wanted to think of I always like the design a weapon challenges because I love WoW items, and my brain's like an encyclopedia of WoW items. So the Arcanite Ripper was this guitar. It was an Arcanite Reaper that was a guitar, and I cannot remember how you got it, but it was during Burning Crusade. It might have been off Headless Horseman or something, but so it had. The Arcanite Ripper had just a clickable ability that said "bust out a face melter."
Yeah,
and your character got a new emote where they would pull out the axe and just start start melting faces on that thing. So what the Arcanite Ripper does in Hearthstone is it's a 7-mana 5/3, so you got a little beefed up Arcanite Reaper there. And when your hero attacks, bust out a face melter with a power chord card. So this is the same effect as Elite Tauren Chieftain, which says give each player the power to rock with a power chord card.
Right.
So it's really, it could say anything, but as long as the actual game term that it specifies is with a power chord card, then that's what it does.
Yeah.
So this is going to put one of those 3 cards from Elite Tauren Chieftain into your hand, just your hand. And so you have 3 tries to do it. I believe the cards are Rogues Do It From Behind, which is 4 mana, 4 damage, draw a card. Power of the Horde.
Summon a random warrior of the Horde, and then the other one is summon 2 to 5 Murlocs, or 3 to 4. I can't remember.
Yeah, that one's called I Am Murloc.
Yeah, 2 to 4 Murlocs, I think it is.
Yeah, Aorikos, I feel like when you attack, you should just totally bust out a face melter. Like there should be an audio cue for that. So as far as, I mean, obviously you can see where the flavor of this card comes from. But as far as like, power level, obviously I took Arcanite Reaper, beefed it up a little bit. A 7 mana 5/3 is like, I mean, that's decent. And then you just get a random card in your hand when you attack that's going to give you extra value. And I think late game warriors really appreciate that kind of thing. Just constantly, that's why they run things like at least the Trailblazer. They just want to pack their deck in their hands with more and more tools to do whatever the hell kind of scumbag fatigue thing they're going to do. Yeah. So it's more or less like a control warrior card, but I mean, it's also 15 damage. So
yeah, there's a lot of damage there. I almost wonder, like, just because of the fact that you are getting the extra value off of it, if it shouldn't just still be a 5/2, because it's only 2 more mana than an Arcanite Reaper. So yeah,
I just wanted that. I wanted that ability to go off, like,
or maybe a 4/3 then.
It could be, maybe a 4/3.
Yeah. But mine probably needs changed around too, which is I could not, like, it was my challenge and I was like really struggling with it, so I decided to go kind of funny with it, and I named my weapon for Rogue Unreasonably Large Shuriken, and that's actually like a little like toy of a Final Fantasy character named Yuffie, who has the most insanely huge shuriken ever. And it's an 8 mana 4/3 weapon, epic weapon. After you attack, deal 2 damage to all enemy character. No characters.
Nice, so. I like that one.
Yeah. So
you ran out of characters.
I ran out of characters to deal 2 damage to. I just wanted it to be, I feel like Rogue really lacks a lot of AoE options, and in the late game, without some kind of cheesy thing like, shadow stepping frickin' Leroy Jenkins or something weird like doing a bunch of burst damage from hand with eviscerates or something, like they end up running out of like ways to close out an opponent. Even if you've been like really like railing on them the whole game, with Rogue's ability to be very on board, and like Miracle Rogue like summoning all those 4/4s and stuff, It'd just be cool. Like, I kind of try to pack it into one weapon, giving you a little bit of reach, you know, to just finish out the game, but also, like, giving you the ability to catch up from, like, a losing position. So,
you know what else? This is on a minion card template.
You're right. You're right. I've totally screwed it up. So, this is a weapon, though.
This is a bootlegged card.
This is bootlegged.
Yeah. I think my issue with it is being able to consecrate 3 turns in a row is just like insanely oppressive. So I might say bring that down to 2 charges.
4-2.
Just because you're at that, you know, when you're at that point, you're like, well, now I just can't play anything because it'll all die.
Right. It is really bad against, like, decks that try to just put out, like, a big minion, like a Spiteful deck. Like, Spiteful decks don't care about this at all.
Yeah, and that's true. I mean, I can't look at everything just from the board swarm standpoint, but, you know, that's my perspective.
Right on. I can't believe I actually put it on a minion template.
Yeah,
oh my
I thought it looked weird, but
it like didn't even cross my mind, but it totally does look weird.
So. Obviously a rogue card with all that rogue art around the the picture.
All that
we don't have to look for that fine...
I do wish that they just had the same borders on weapons. Like, I don't know why it has to have this, like, matte, just, like, dark steel border, and, like, just only right around the edge of, like, the text box do you see what class it belongs to. It's just kind of weird. So.
Yeah, I think more indication than just that line would be nice. I mean, I like the look of them because they do look like they're, like, made of metal or something.
Yeah.
But maybe that metal could be different per class or something, you know?
Yeah. So we normally would have done this earlier in the show. You should start thinking of the challenge if you don't have it, by the way. But
I have
did.
it.
Oh, great. Well, let's back up a sec and do Q&A, because we did skip that.
Ah, true. I think we only had like 2 questions.
Yeah, so we'll just knock these out real quick. The first one's from Dougie. If Warlock and Paladin, and in parentheses, Lackey / Void Lord, and Call to Arms specifically, were not to exist as cards, what do you think would be the top meta decks? Well, I mentioned this earlier. I think one that pops into mind is without, like, you know, all the infinite taunts that Warlocks can throw up and all the early board pressure from Paladins. I think we might be living under the oppression of Quest Rogue, without anything to check that. So,
yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I could see Control Mage, you know, working its way to tier 1. Because these are 2 very different. This is a hyper aggro deck and a combo based hard control deck.
Right.
So, you know, what would removing those specifically change? I mean, and if you're talking Call to Arms specifically, that's just going to let Odd Paladin flourish, because that's still a thing. But it's hard to say, because you're probably right with Quest Rogue there, because
those are, like, I feel like the 2 main checks against it.
Yeah,
so
it's so much in the meta right now. It's like, God, who knows, like, what would end up, you know, maybe a new deck would just pop up.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. It's really hard to say, but I would put my money on Quest Rogue being tier 1. And then up next from Wade Stevens, what is your guys' favorite weapon from video games, mythology, or real life? And I'm sure we have the same answer for this one. And it was a card today, so.
The Soul Reaver.
Yeah, the Soul Reaver from Legacy of Kain. It's just a good sword. It's
a good sword. Second runner-up for that one, though, maybe, I really like the Ashbringer. From I did a video on this. I literally did a video on like top 8 swords in video games, but the ass banger. That gives my inner paladin such a hard on. As for mythology in real life, I don't know. Can you think of any
mythology in real life?
Weapons from mythology.
I'm not. I can't really. I can only think of it from video games. I would have to say the Masamune from Final Fantasy VII would be a big one, and then probably Rebellion from Devil May Cry series would be.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Rebellion. I'm trying to think of stuff from Mythology. I know like a decent amount of. Didn't somebody get like a dope ass mirror shield where they could like reflect it back at Medusa?
I mean, that was it. Yeah, there was the Clash of the Titans movie, and I honestly don't even think it was like his own shield. I think it was just like something he randomly picks up in that scene and just like uses. Oh,
well, I think in the real story that's bestowed to him. To go fight the Medusa.
Right.
Yeah. Huh. And then I don't know, real life weapons. Are there? Do we have any good weapons in real life? I've heard of something called like a nuclear bomb.
Yeah, nuclear bombs. They're good.
Those are pretty good ones.
Oh my god,
pretty good ones.
So what is next week's challenge?
All right, so I thought long and hard about this for a minute, and I've done this to you guys once before, and you seem to like it, so I'm gonna do it again.
What's that?
Play that Monster Hunt mode if you haven't, and then make a Monster Hunt hero.
Okay. We did this before with Dungeon Run?
No, not with Dungeon Run. I did just make a new hero, make a new class or something.
Just make something for Monster Hunt.
Yeah, make a new hero for Monster Hunt. Which is still done.
Just the portrait in the hero power?
Yeah, portrait in the hero power, and I guess if did the Monster Hunt heroes have their own unique cards in their decks?
I haven't seen anything other than just the treasures that get offered.
Other than the treasures. Yeah. If you want to throw a treasure or two in there, just for funsies, be my guest. But yeah, just the portrait hero power. And Electman says, yes, that's right. This is true. They do have unique treasures to them.
Oh, okay.
You don't always get those.
So like up to 2 treasures, like the hero power and up to 2 treasures. So
sure, yeah, hero power up to 2 treasures, and then of course portrait or whatever.
Right on.
A hero or enemy, Dougie asks. Oh. I didn't think about that.
Well, hey, this is your challenge, so your call.
I didn't think about that. All right, we can open it up to enemy, like a boss, enemy 2. Yeah, and that's, again, you're making a hero power and like 1 or 2 cards to go along with, how their play style would be. 2 treasures is too many, Tachyon. You don't have time.
Then don't do 2 treasures, man.
Don't do 2 treasures.
That is how this works.
So yeah, card challenge this week. Design a Dungeon Run hero or boss. You get to make their hero power. Make 1 to 2 cards or treasures to go along with them. Focus.
Oh, yeah, I know, right? I was like, what?
So I think that's about it for our show today.
Yep, that brings us to the end. Do you want to tell them where they can find you and all the various things that you do? Dukey?
Oh, sure. Boy, I do so many things. No, so I stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/DukeyShed, which actually in a few minutes we will probably be moving over there to do some Monster Hunt stuff. Also, this Saturday on that channel, I am doing a 12-hour Mega Man stream.
Wow.
With giveaways and prizes. And this is in preparation for Mega Man May. So I'll be building some hype, and we're gonna have a lot of videos coming out on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/DukeyShedVids, starting next month.
Nice.
Which is coming up soon. If you want to find us on Twitter, our podcast Twitter is @SaltyDogPodcast. Clash is @KLASHE_HS, and I am @DukeyShed.
Right on.
That about covers it. Give us good ratings wherever you listen. If you listen on iTunes, give us 5 apples.
For all the apples, give us every apple that you have. We appreciate that. Thank you guys for coming out to our show. We always appreciate it. And until next week, stay salty.
Stay salty.